Hi, everybody. Welcome to week 3. You guys are doing amazing in this class. The discussion area this week was really great. I think you probably enjoyed looking at some of the pictures and hearing people's thoughts about issues that affect you also. And the great thing about that work that you're doing is that it really is going to set you up for this week's discussion area. So some of the things that people talked about were things like transit, affordable housing, racism and discrimination, childcare, and all of these issues are connected to policy. Policy impacts all of these issues. And so this week, what we're going to look at is government itself and government's role when it comes to policy. And to do that, we need to first understand how the Canadian government works. So one of the first things that we're going to do is today on this video, we'll do things a little bit differently. I'm going to take you through some of the content for this week and help you figure things out. So I'm leaving the video and going to the screen. Okay, so in Unit 3, which is our unit this week, we have 3 topics. The first topic, there's no readings this week. You can read. You could read up on it so you know about how Parliament works, but if you already know about it, then you're kind of good to go. So in this week, we're going to test your knowledge of the levels of Canadian government. So the way the Canadian government works is there's 3 levels. The federal government, so that's sort of like Justin Trudeau and his Liberal government. The provincial government, which governs our province, Ontario, so that's our Rob Ford government right now. And then our municipal government, which is the city, and right now that's John Tory. And each level of government is responsible for different things. So here you're going to test your knowledge and try and figure out who's responsible for what. So for example, education was one of the things that people talked about, the high cost of education. And education is the responsibility of the provincial government. Okay, so you're going to put all these different areas into the right level of government. So say you are thinking about recreational services, and you think, oh, maybe it's the Ontario government who does recreational services. The municipal government who does recreational services, and then you'd be right. So once you're done doing that, you'll show the score and you'll see how you did on learning the responsibilities of government. On your second topic this week, you will look at where government meets. So again, thinking about our 3 levels of government and where they meet. So I'm not going to tell you what each of these places are, but you'll drag and drop and figure it out and test your knowledge. And then our third topic is important. So the third topic is to find your elected representative. And we need to know our elected representatives because for your discussion, what you're going to do is you're going to figure out who your elected representative is and write a letter to them based on the policy issue you identified. So not only do you need to figure out who your elected representative is, but you need to figure out what level of government you would talk to about your issue. So transit, for example, was one of the issues people wrote about. Which level of government deals with transit? For the most part, our municipal government, right? TTC is run by the city. Although I guess that one is tricky because Rob Ford actually wants to take the TTC and make it provincial, but right now the TTC is still run by the city. What about childcare? Childcare, we're talking provincial. Some things are more obvious and some things are less obvious. And some things you're going to have to sort of make a call about what level of government you want to do it to. So for example, racism and discrimination, that's not like a set issue for a certain level of government. But if you want to talk about racism and discrimination and how it's connected to immigration, then that would be the federal government. And if you wanted to talk about racism and discrimination and how it's related to carding and the relationships with police, then that would be municipal. If you wanted to talk about racism and discrimination and how the government is dealing with it on a systemic level, you might want to write your letter to the provincial government, as Rob Ford recently dismantled the Anti-Racism Directorate. So, how are you going to find your elected representative? So, for example, if we want to talk about housing, and housing falls under a provincial government, then what you would do is you would click on this link. Okay, and here we are. Here's our representatives. Now, what we want to do is find your riding. So, you need help finding your riding? Use Election Ontario's Find Your Electorate District tool. So you would click here. My postal code is M6K1P9. So now we're going to search it. Here's my riding, Davenport riding. Who's my member of provincial parliament? Marit Stiles. But what party is she from? Because if I'm going to write her a letter, I have to understand where she stands on my issues. So I'm going to click. Here she is, Marit Stiles. Her party is the New Democratic Party. And over here, you'll be able to find her contact information. Yeah, let's move this over a little bit. There you go. That's her contact information. That's her email and her address. So those things need to be included in your letter. Both the address of the person you're sending it to and your own address, so I can make sure that you actually found the correct member of parliament. So you're going to write a letter to your member of parliament about the issue you identified, why you think it's important, and what you think they should do for your discussion area. Anybody who's looking for a bonus point, take your letter, email your letter to the person and CC me and see what kind of response you get. In past years, it has been awesome to see how people respond to it. So I encourage you to give it a try. Good luck, and I'll talk to you guys later.